Hi everyone, it's Dawn from Crafting on the Green. I hope you're well. This is video number 3 from the April craft kit, and I'm going to show you how to make this cute birthday card. So the stamp set that we're using is the Butterfly Brilliance stamp set, which looks like this, and we're using the dies as well, which come with it. So let me show you how I've done this one. So from your craft kit, you're going to need a card base, and first of all I'm going to be stamping the background of this card with the stamps. I'm going to stamp it in smoky slate, but before I do the stamping, what I want to do is take some post-it notes and just mask off just over the line so that it doesn't cross over the line. Basically, I don't want it to appear on the other side of the card. So try and line that up straighter. So I've got a couple of post-it notes there. There we go. And then what I want to do is just make sure this is lined up where I want it to be. Yeah, I think. There we go. So, yeah, that's going to fit nicely on there. I'm trying to make sure, because I'm going to be adding the butterfly onto the bottom butterfly to make it 3D, so I want to make sure that it's all lined up and it's not going to be hanging off the card. So I am just going to move that down a touch. Yeah. Okay, so when you're happy with where it is, the easier way is probably to take the stamp off, lay it on top of your card, and then use the platform to pick it up. But because mine's already stuck on there, I was being lazy. So now I'm going to use smoky slate and cover the stamp with it. Okay. And if you've not used a stamp artist before, I highly recommend it. It's a wonderful tool, especially when you're working with a stamp that is this big. It's very easy to miss some areas, as you see there, but it's fine because all you need to do is flick it back over again and then apply pressure to the bits where you've missed the first time round. Whereas if you don't use the stamp artist, it's really hard to get it lined up again, and in fact it's probably impossible because it's a rubber stamp rather than a clear one. But yeah, there we go. So after a couple of flips over, I've got my ink where I want it. Can't get the magnet off today. Right, so I'm going to flip that back over and just move it out of the way. And then we can take off our post-it notes. There we go. So as you see, it's a very tiny bit gone over the line, but that's fine. So now that we've got this, what I want to do now is cut out a butterfly. So I'm going to cheat and use the DSP that came with this set, and I'm going to basically, it will cut out all of these gorgeous butterflies, but I only want this blue one. However, you could choose to use a different butterfly on your card, it would still have the same effect. But let me show you. So we'll get the die cutter and get the plate. So I'm going to use the nice big die here that will cut out all of the butterflies in one go. Bear in mind that if you do have this die set, it won't go through the mini die cutter because it's quite big. Some of the other butterflies will, because they're a lot smaller, but obviously this big one won't. Right, so when you've lined it up and you're happy with that, run it through the machine. Okay, and then we've got lots of butterflies. I think they're ever so pretty. Okay, so I'm going to take my card base, and as I said, I'm going to use this butterfly here. I'm going to stick that one on top, making it 3D. You could also choose to use the larger one there instead of, or the small one. I'd advise against these ones unless you shift the stamp over slightly so that it's not going to be hanging off the edge of the card. But I love this blue one. I think it's gorgeous, so I'm going to go for that. So first of all, I'm going to use my Wink of Stella because, you know, we've got to add a little bit of sparkle, haven't we? So I'm just going to add it over the butterfly, all over it, and it'll give it such a lovely glimmer when it just catches the light. Here we go. Right, and while I just give that a second to dry, it's not particularly wet, I'm going to make a label. So I'm going to use the Happy Birthday stamp from the Timeless Tulips set. I like this font quite a lot. Find a block. There we go. And I'm just going to use the black memento for this one. So I'm just using a scrap piece of card. I'm just going to stamp that on there, and then I'm going to cut it to size. I find it much easier than trying to measure out, you know, a tiny piece of card to stamp on. So yes, I tend to do it that way. So I want that to be about there. And I'm just going to trim the end a tiny bit as well. Right, so now I've got my Happy Birthday. And what I'm also going to use, I wonder if that's wide enough. Ah, lovely. Another scrap of card is the Misty Moonlight. Actually, that fits really rather well, so quite happy with that. What I'm going to do is glue this onto the Misty Moonlight and then again cut it to size around it. The paintbrush out again. Okay, stick that on there, and then again with the trimmer I'm just going to line it up. There we go, and then I've got my label. So now what we need to do is put the card together. So I'm going to, again, bend the wings up of the butterfly. All I'm doing is holding the body and just pushing the wings, and then it gives it a lovely 3D effect, which obviously when you put it in the envelope it will flatten out a little bit, but it still will stand up. So just add a touch of glue along there. Trying really hard not to squeeze too hard because it is coming out quite thick and fast today. And then I'm just going to line him up over the top of his grey self. And then I'm going to use some mini dimensionals. I have this balloon here because I was playing with it once and it has a dimensional on the back, but I didn't want to waste it, so I've stuck it back on because I will use it at some point. So just take some mini dimensionals. Okay, and then I'm just going to place this somewhere up here. I don't want to cover the head of the butterfly, I'd rather cover the body. So there you go, that's card number 3. How pretty is that? And hopefully it gives you lots of ideas as well about creating backgrounds with the stamps rather than just having to stamp one and cut it out. There's lots of different things you can do with it. And yeah, so there we go. we have a couple of happy birthday cards, and you'll find all this cut out in your kit, and you've obviously got your DSP as well. So yeah, card number 3 done. Thank you very much for watching. I will see you shortly for card number 4. Bye bye.